Welcome back to Persona 3 FES The Answer. I actually decided to reload straight from the boss floor here, so off camera I went all the way here, saved, and I'm ready to take on the boss right now. So, firstly, yeah, I'm leading with Genbu just for the auto skills. This fight, resistance to strike attacks is nice, so Nata Taishi will definitely help with that. Really though, the Black Frost that I have is so good, he's basically just my go-to persona for everything. My buffs and debuffs are going to be useful. I have Mitsuru here. She's kind of a risk because the enemies do use fire, but she does have ice and some of the bosses are weak to that. There is another boss here that has no weaknesses. I've mainly brought Junpei just for his physical power, Akihiko for his debuffs, and for the fact that he uses Zio, which is one of the few things that works on one of these bosses. So, let's head down there. Interestingly, the Black Shadow didn't even show up this time. But we still have a boss, and the boss is... Those things look... the palette swap on their mains looks really awkward. But anyway, this is the Death Castle and 2 Dorado beasts. I'm going to go ahead and scan the Death Castle first, mainly because... Actually, wait, no. I'm just going to scan the Dorado beasts first, because that way Mitsuru will know to knock them down, because they are weak to ice. So, I'm going to go to Tactics, I'm going to put Mitsuru on Knockdown, Akihiko on Heal/Support, and I think I'm fine where we are, and then I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Black Frost, and I think I'll put a Defense debuff on the entire enemy group. The Dorado beasts hit very hard with physical attacks, and they can also use fire on Mitsuru, which is not good. Thankfully, I guess resist that. And thankfully, Junpei's immune to that. That's the other reason I brought him here. Actually, that's not a bad move to be using here. So the Dorado beasts are weak to ice. Annoyingly, they have dodge ice, though. And they do have fire to hit Mitsuru, but their main threat is their very powerful strike attacks. So resistance to strike is pretty nice here. Yeah, like this. That hits pretty hard. However, with Mitsuru on knockdown and the Dorado beast now scanned, she can actually keep them down, which is going to be useful. The longer they're down, the better, because they hit very hard. I also like her using her last turn there to attack the castle, because the castle mainly acts as support, but it can do that, and it can also do Mediarama, which is pretty bad. You don't want it to be using that. Annoyingly, it has no weaknesses, but if you focus down on it, it's really not that hard to take out. In fact, I'm going to have Junpei go ahead and do... actually, let me just check. Because with the turn order, usually Mitsuru goes down, and I kind of like Junpei to use... Yeah, normally I'd have Junpei go assign target on the castle, but I feel like that's gonna preclude him from potentially waking up Mitsuru if she gets knocked down, and I kind of want her to be up, because obviously I want to keep these Dorado beasts down. That missed because I already had Mata Okaja. And that is seriously painful, I hate that attack. So the Death Castle has no weaknesses, only physical attacks and electric attacks work, which is why I brought Akihiko. It uses a lot of status and it can heal. It's mainly the support in this fight, and I'd like to take it out first. Fun fact about the Death Castle is that it's actually called Raindrop Castle in Persona 4. Yeah, it shows up there, and it's called Raindrop Castle, probably to better theme it to the rainy day enemies. Persona 3 has no rainy day enemies, so it's not necessary to give it a name like that. Yeah, see, I want that castle gone, especially since once the castle is gone, it's a lot easier for us to get all-out attacks on the enemies. In my practice attempt at this, I actually got very, very lucky, and I was able to get Mitsuru to critical the castle, and that way, I could actually get an all-out attack. Now, these enemies are very weak to all-out attacks. They take a lot of damage from them, although that might have just been my defense debuff slash attack buffs working. Still, if you can get an all-out attack, it's pretty useful. I probably should recover Akihiko. Oh well. Definitely want that castle gone, though. Okay, so good thing neither of those got a chance to attack, because as you can see, they're pretty scary. Might want to get Akihiko back up next turn. Even though he's really not the most useful party member here. That was really nice. And you're back up. And my attack's reverted, and defense is reverted. But I'm still gonna... Okay, I'm gonna Bufu this El Dorado beast, and then I'm gonna revive Akihiko. Well, provided that this thing doesn't do dodge. Good. So now I'm gonna revival bead Akihiko. Hopefully the castle should go down soon. Okay, I'm gonna need to put my defense debuff back on. And it seems like both of them are gonna be stuck on the ground this turn. Okay, good, keeping the castle. It's kind of cool that he's intentionally focusing on it, except he then missed. Oh, I really hope that it doesn't use Mediarama. Well, at least she'll hopefully get some extra turns here. Good.
Amazing as always.
And yeah, you definitely don't want to use Rebellion or Revolution here. Even though it makes criticling the castle for all-out attacks easier, you really, really don't want those El Dorado beasts getting, please don't use Magic. Ah, of course you would. At least you're still nearly dead. But yeah, you do not want the El Dorado beast having an increased critical chance. And I need to Mavrakuunda you again. Because that castle has to go. Hasn't tried to use status yet, but sort of glad that it hasn't. I still think the El Dorado beasts look pretty weird, but I do think this is kind of a cool fight. It's one of the first really challenging boss fights in the answer to me. And I don't like the fact that I keep missing the castle. But I do like the fact that Mitsuru is making herself useful here. Now, I was about to say something, but I don't want to speak too soon. I was about to say I'm glad that none of them have got dodge ice off yet. Ugh, you're gonna get stuck in a loop of that, aren't you? And while I want to... Probably should have put Akihiko on attack, actually. You know what, let's do that. Because his healing is pretty terrible. Actually, no. Assign target. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and put Jun, just to make sure, even though he's already attacking it for the most part. Death Castle must die. Random tangent, but Death Castle for some reason sounds like the name of a movie. I feel like there has to be a movie out there called that. I was thinking for a second that it was an Akira... 3 times in a row, really? That it was an Akira Kurosawa movie, but I think I was thinking of Throne of Blood, which is his adaptation of Macbeth. But I feel like there is a movie called Death Castle. I don't know. Okay, please kill it. Ah! All this is because Junpei missed that thing 3 times in a row. Die. Death Castle, die. Oh no. At least the El Dorado beasts aren't doing much. Yeah, this is not going as well as my practice run did. Finally, Junpei has realized that using standard physical attacks is a lot better. In my practice run, this fight went so smoothly. Like I said, I crit the Death Castle and got an all-out attack, and that did like 500 damage to everything, which made the fight so much easier. You guys are... Yeah, you're still defense debuffed. I'm gonna go and use my Bufu on you now.
That's the way.
All right, good job.
I need your help.
Now, thankfully, we can get all-out attacks on them now, provided that this thing doesn't... Good. Didn't dodge ice.
Here's a chance. Let's get him.
It's kind of an annoying theme. Almost every boss in the answer has a dodge skill for whatever it's weak to. Also, a lot of them have Sharp Student to make them less vulnerable to criticals. Uh-oh. I probably shouldn't have done that. Somebody please heal. Thank you, because now I am not in kill range of another kill rush, hopefully. Oh no, Swift Strike is still bad. Yeah. You know, I think that all-out attack was a mistake. But I mean, I can probably Diorama next turn. I am going to all-out attack this time, though. Now, this might actually kill them, although I'm not fully sure. Doesn't seem to have killed them. But they must be pretty close. Yeah, really close. And standard Dia is not going to do much. Oh, yeah, the problem here, though, I really need to Diorama Igus, because if I get Dodge Ice on either of them, they're probably going to kill her. Or you could be an idiot and do that. That's good too. Please finish it off. Thank you. Only one left. Uh-oh. Oh, that didn't do much. And we might be able to get style points for finishing this. Or you get Dodge Ice. Let's just rush it now. Kill it, Junpei! Thank you for that, Junpei. Awesome as always.
Dude, we gotta pull it together.
So, that could have gone better. We get 2 Shining Beards, a lot of experience, and a level up for Igus. Still, though, I like to consider that one of the first tough bosses in the answer, because it can be pretty brutal if you're not prepared. So, for defeating that boss, we get a couple of chests, which are Magic Mirror and 2 Bead Chains. Actually, Magic Mirrors are pretty decent against that fight, now that I think about it. So, I'm going to go back and save. Obviously, want to open up this warp. But because that was pretty short, I feel like actually venturing out into the next area. Now, the next boss is on floor 14, but there are some pretty viciously tough enemies in the next area. The next area's theme is physical attacks, and there's a big variety of weaknesses on the enemies, so you'll want a well-balanced party, but a lot of them are weak to wind, so Yukari or Metis is going to be good going forward. How much money do I have, though? I might actually want to go ahead and buy some new weapons for people. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. The 2 Shining Beards sell for a total of 80,000, so that's going to be pretty useful for buying extra stuff. That is a weapon for Igus. That's actually not bad at all, but I might want to get this, because Koromaru's a little weak at this point. And I think I am going to bring him to the next area, because a lot of the enemies there are weak to fire. Well, a few of them are. Also, resisting Mudo is decent for a few of them as well. Reduced Stumble High is great for Metis, actually. I may as well give her the Slash Ward, too. So, Metis is pretty well decked out. And I just realized I really should give Ken the Prayer Beads. Because he is weak to Dark, after all, so anything that mitigates Dark is good for him. Got my party for this area in order, and look at Metis' ridiculous hammer. Let's go! And this area is another one that's reused, but the enemies here are actually pretty interesting to fight. Like I said, they're all pretty brutal physical attackers. And unlike last time, the Black Shadow is back. And Fuka can't get a lock on it, but I will say it is on the 14th floor, and the 13th floor is the save point. And I'm going to go ahead and just request a specific BGM this time, just to spice things up a little bit. Guess I'll go through these in order. So, let's head through this area, and there are going to be a lot of new enemies here. First up is...
There's one enemy.
Okay, you don't usually show up in groups of 1, the Conviction Sword. This thing is weak to wind, and I'm just going to go ahead and put Metis in all gear mode just to make sure. So, quick check, you're weak to wind, and I believe, yes, you repel slash and drain electric attacks, so... Akihiko is not so great here. Actually, don't know how you resist dark, so let's see if this works or not. I'm kind of glad that happened, so I can actually get the scan through. A lot of the enemies in this area are either Justice or Chariot Arcana. Oh yeah, it also has Poison Mist and Poison Boost, but I don't see it use it that often. Watch it, go ahead and use it now. So yeah, weak to wind, repel slash, so watch out for that. You instead chose to just whack it.
I must protect my sister.
Well, that's a slightly different victory quote from the norm. This area is also kind of interesting in that I find that the purple shadow here is actually really weak. Don't know if we'll see it show up, Really? That actually happens! Okay then. So, Purple Shadow, the Burning Beetle.
Give me a sec.
You might remember these if you've played Persona Q. This is the first giant shadow in that game, and it's actually a really big threat early on. In this game, though, they're actually kind of weak for a Purple Shadow. In fact, I mean, the SMT wiki says these things are only in the answer, but I seem to remember them... I mean, they're not a boss in the journey, are they? I feel like they were a boss in the journey. But anyway, they use fire, they have Mind Charge and fire attacks, but they don't have a lot of HP as far as Purple Shadows go. So I'm just going to wait until the scan goes through. They do repel 2 physical elements. I believe Slash is the one physical element they don't repel.
The enemy's weak against ice.
Yeah, so... yeah, Slash is the one physical element they don't repel. They also drain fire and they're immune to instant death, but, like, that's not a lot of HP. Oh, right, Metis has ice now. I forgot about that. Except that's really bad.
3 enemies left.
I mean, they do seem to be very resilient, but they go down pretty quickly to all-out attacks, and they have a pretty easy-to-hit weakness. So as far as Purple Shadows go, I actually feel that these are some of the weakest that we've seen so far. They do take a few turns to go down, but if you've got a lot of ice users, it's really not that bad. Yeah, I forgot Metis had ice. Metis is actually one of the few non-protagonist party members who can cover multiple elements. And yep, that's them gone.
Keep your filthy hands up.
They're not even worth that much experience, if I remember right. Oh, the 5 sword is really tempting. But I'm gonna go for the 5 experience. Because that's actually quite a lot.
My persona has a new ability. It restores your health a little when you descend to the next floor.
So that one's very self-explanatory, and Fuka sounded really, really bored during that. Also, Black Frost leveled up again, even though he's already learned everything. I admit his stats aren't that great for this point, but he's still very, very versatile element-wise. You, I would like you to either turn around or approach the stairs. Well, you turned around. Now, you're probably not going to be a single Conviction Sword. No, you are a single Grave Beetle. This thing is much, much more threatening, in my opinion, than the Burning Beetles. It is weak to wind, though, but it has an enormous ton of HP. And it can use Power Charge physical attacks, too.
Down. Now's your chance.
I'm going to all-out attack this. I am actually not worried about losing the scan, because this thing has so much HP that I'm going to get the scan in, no matter what happens. Yeah, see, all-out attacks don't even do that much. Definitely remember the Grave Beetle being in the journey. And you're probably just going to wind it. Or use Fatal End, I guess because I haven't scanned it yet. There we go. So, yeah, Power Charge physical attacks coming from it are really painful. It's got a huge amount of HP, so I like to keep it knocked down where possible. But it takes quite a few all-out attacks before it goes down, because it just has so much health.
The enemy's down. Let's finish this.
Okay, yeah, if voice clips are a little out of sync at this point, yeah, if you remember from my playthrough of the journey of this game... Oh, great. That's all. That's actually a lot more HP than I thought it was. But, if you remember from my playthrough of the journey, my PS2 is very old, and it doesn't like hot days at all, and today is a very hot day, so... It actually lags in games a lot during hot days, and it starts making really horrible sounding... You won't hear them, but it starts making really horrible sounding noises when it's trying to read the discs. It's just kind of an aspect of it being a really old console. Like, this isn't even a PS2 Slim, it's just the regular PS2. I got it when it was relatively new. Anyway, Bronze Dice and Ruinous Idol.
3 enemies. You've surprised them.
Gonna go ahead and scan the idol.
Scan the target.
I know that the dice are weak to fire. So, let's go and knock them down, and then I'm just gonna wait for the idol scan. Now, in my entire practice run in this area, I never saw a single Ruinous Idol, so I am actually kind of worried about it. I kind of feel like it maybe uses hum. That's probably not a good thing for you to do.
I failed to... It's weak against...
Okay, weak to wind, like a lot of things here. It doesn't have Hummer, okay, but it does have Dodge Wind. And it is immune to both instant death elements, which is a shame. But at least Metis is on the scene to hit its wind weakness. To hit its weak weakness. Don't want you doing that. Don't know if you're immune to this or not. Well, you're obviously not immune to it.
Give me a sec. I'll scan the target.
And I'm gonna go for Garrula on you. Probably should at least try and show the scan on the bronze dice, so I'm just gonna attack the idol again. And it is down.
Last one. Don't let your guard down.
Okay, yeah, didn't use Moodor, which is good. That thing's gonna die regardless. I'm not gonna get the scan in, unfortunately. And it is gone. Only a 3 experience card, unfortunately. But I'll take it, because the enemies here are pretty high level, so they're worth a lot of experience, as I guess has found out, because she's leveled up again. Should I just head to the next floor? Just sort of want to see if there are any chests around here. Could you turn around, please? Nope. A Robust. Do I want a Robust? I'm not really sure. I think at the moment I'm just going to go for more experience. Because you always need that in the answer. And I kind of feel like... Okay, let's see if you're any new enemies. There's a particular group of 3 that I'm worried about. And you are not it.
2 and... Give me a sec. I'll scan the target. It's weak against fire. Use Augie skills.
So here's the scan on the dice. Really, they're not all that interesting. They're weak to fire and just use a few physical attacks. 6-shot is pretty much exactly what she has equipped. So that's not really useful. Anyway, I'm going to get off this floor now. There are quite a few more enemies that I haven't encountered yet. At least 5, actually. So, still got my work cut out for me in this area. Yeah, I could go down another floor, but I want to just show off these enemies, because some of them are pretty interesting to fight. Actually got you! And I actually found out in practice that the hand-type enemies are not always weak to pierce right off the bat. I've just been insanely lucky so far. Oh, that's actually the first time I've seen an attack not be a weakness on them and also hit. But yeah, those are treasure hands now rather than wealth hands. Their coins sell for a lot more. And let's get you. I thought you'd be another grave beetle.
My skill levels have increased.
Okay, that's good. Now let's see if I can find that set of enemies there. That's probably going to be you. No, but it is one of the enemies that I needed to find. Ill-fated Maya. These things are... Remember how I said the bigoted Mayas in the last area were some of the weakest Mayas we'd encountered? These are some of the strongest by far. Though mainly when they're in combination with other enemies, rather than just alone. Because they have Rebellion, and while they don't make much use of Rebellion themselves, when that buffs certain other enemies on this floor, it's pretty terrifying. They are weak to wind, but they can use Makarakan to cover that weakness. They can also drop your defense. Encountering them in a group on their own is pretty fine, but when they're in combination with certain other things, they get pretty scary to fight. Also, some of the other enemies in this area can summon them. So yeah, gonna go for Garo again. Thankfully, you don't have Dodge Wind, at least I'm pretty sure you don't.
Keep it up. I need your help.
But yeah, encountering these things alone is a blessing.
I need your help.
There's this one combination of enemies that's one of these plus two of the other new enemies on this floor. And altogether, they are terrifying. Yeah, my PS2 is lagging pretty badly. I'm going to have to let it rest a lot after this recording session. This is pretty much the first time that I've run into this issue during the answer, but this did happen quite a bit during the journey, if you watch that. It's just kind of an issue with my old PS2. It's weird how hot days are its weakness. Maybe its cooling like fan is kind of worn out and it doesn't work as well as it used to. Okay, that's another one of the enemies. This thing usually shows up in groups with the ill-fated Maya. It has no weaknesses though, so that is annoying, and it nulls everything physical except Slash. And it can also power charge itself, so kind of a scary enemy to fight. Gonna have to use Bufu here. Thankfully, I have 2 Slash party members. It doesn't have that much HP, though. And, yeah.
Guns and bows aren't going to work on it.
So, yeah, also Null Wind, and it has Agilao and Fire Boost, but I find that it tends to not use fire that often.
I need your help.
Like I said, though, not much in the way of HP. That with Power Charge is scary. And why did you do that? You're an idiot. I mean, it does null Wind and Strike, but you do have Wind. You could have used Ice. I think I need to request healing now. Mitsuru's really the main one who can do that. Good I didn't accidentally talk to Metis, because it looked like I almost did there. Okay, so there are a couple of enemies that I need to see here that I haven't yet. The Order Giant and... Oh, actually 3. Order Giant, Mark Wheel, and Wild Drive. Actually, we can see if this is one of them. Strike Ward, which actually would have been more useful against the last boss, but oh well. Another enemy has suddenly spawned. Oh well, it's good experience, and I just want to see if you are one of the new enemies that I need to see here. There is the Order Giant. It's weak to ice, it nulls light and dark, and it does use Mudor. That's kind of why I brought Koromaru here. And it's strong against everything physical. Fortunately, though, Black Frost can hit everything in this battle for its weakness.
It's weak against ice. Use Bufu.
So this is the Order Giant scan. And I'm going to head down to the next... Wow, the enemies just keep respawning in these 2 rooms, but I'm going to head down to the next... I should probably get that chest. So I'm going to have to wait for you to turn around. Are you going to be wild drives? Because I'd like it if you were wild drives. No. Oh, actually, that was not an experience card. That increased Black Frost magic by 2. Sometimes 1 cards do that. It's pretty rare, though. I want things that aren't gems. So let's keep heading down. It's not that long to go before the next save point. No line from Fuka before this floor. Oh, gold chest. I would like that. Firstly, though, let's see if you're something that I haven't seen yet.
There are 3 of them. Strike.
Well, I've never seen this combination of enemies before, but I have seen all of them individually, so I'm gonna leave. The turrets have no weaknesses. I don't really want to fight them in a group of 2. You! Katana of my nightmares. If you watch my playthrough of the journey, you'll know that I had a lot of trouble finding that for one of Elizabeth's requests, and it has returned to me.
My skill level.
Okay, Mitsuru... I just bought that, didn't I? That's always the rule with weapons and RPGs. Whenever you, Okay, so that's one he currently has, I'm guessing? Because Charm is pretty nice. But yeah, the law of RPGs is whenever you go out of your way to buy a new weapon, you will always find that weapon in a chest in the next dungeon, because that's how it always goes. Thankfully, there was a corner in the way. Of course, rock dog suit's another thing that I already have on Koromaru. Really need a better dog suit for him. Okay, that's good. Mitsuru leveling up is not that helpful at this point because she's gonna be useless in the next boss because it uses a lot of fire attacks. And yeah, Fuku is actually commenting here. So, in only 2 more floors we're there. Oh wow. It's out in the open, I'll definitely take that. That actually seems pretty useful. And I think that's better than what you currently have? I still keep calling that sword Skrelp because, you know, the Pokemon name. No, it is not what you currently have. +4 endurance is nice too. I think I remember I used that weapon on the protagonist back in the journey quite a lot. Yeah, I still particularly like one-handed swords and fist weapons for him. Aha! This is something that I need to see. Wild Drive!
Give me a sec. I'll scan the target.
How am I doing in terms of resistance to, like, physical attacks and things like that? Yeah, your magic is definitely caught up thanks to that card that I drew earlier, but these things are weak to Zeo, so Mazio makes short work of them. Except when that happens. I wouldn't mind this working. And it failed to hit any of them, of course it did. So yeah, they have some powerful physical attacks, they resist all physical elements, but they are weak to Zeo, like a lot of the Drive-type enemies are. Do you think they're a particularly cool-looking enemy, although having a literal wheel of feet on the sides of them is sort of creepy. But I like the way their arms are like Japanese-style clubs. That's Herculean Strike, which hurts a lot. Now, can I hit all of them with Mazio this time? Well, considering that you didn't hit all of them with Maragion, probably not. Okay, I actually did. That's nice.
Good choice. The enemy is down. All right, sister. Let's get him.
Yeah, there is a lot of lag in these voice clips. But yeah, that is entirely my console's doing.
No shadows.
So with that, there's only one type of enemy that we haven't seen yet, and it's one that usually shows up by now, the Mark Wheel, and it's... Oh, Black Frost got another stat boost. Okay, that took a while to load. Okay, there is Resist Strike on Genbu, even though Genbu already naturally resists Strike, that'll be good for fusion fodder. So what don't I want? I probably don't want Ray Patra. Yeah, Petra is better. Even though it was kind of useful in that boss fight for Mitsuru, helping her up when she got knocked down by fire. And hey, Koromaru leveled up. Oh, wow, that's, yeah, my console is not liking this. I definitely need to... Yeah, I'm just going to get straight to the next floor. Because I should probably end this recording session soon. Considering that the music just flat out stopped to make way for a voice clip. I can show the Mark Wheel later. It's actually one of the scariest enemies on this floor. I use the term scary a lot, but in a game that's essentially locked to hard mode, that does make sense. I guess at least avoiding the enemies, we get to hear more of this song. Okay, where are the stairs? Because that's really what I'm concerned with at this point. I just kind of want to... There they are. Yeah, let's go. I found out so many rare chests that I just want to cut and run. There's also a cutscene on this floor, though.
Oh, I'm sensing it again. I wonder if it's a shadow. I wish I could tell for sure.
Well, I mean, you keep calling it a black shadow, but now you're wondering if it's a capital S shadow.
It feels just like...
Well, it should be pretty obvious what that thing is supposed to resemble. For now, though, there will be a boss on the next floor, and we should save first. Although, I don't think I'm going to be taking on the boss with this team, so I'm going to have to come back through here to get down to the 13th floor, but I'll be doing that next time. For now, I'll be returning to the Desert of Doors, even though I've technically almost reached a warp point. So next time, we'll be taking on that boss, which is also kind of a tough one. I will see you then.